Hello, everyone, and welcome to Renovate with Jake. Welcome to the channel. On today's episode, I will be sharing tips and ideas on how to refinish and repaint those unsightly old bifold closet doors. I started by removing all the handles, wiping the doors down really clean, vacuuming the floors really well, and putting a tarp down to protect the floor. Next, after mixing the paint really well, I'm ready to start painting. I'm using a 2.5-inch angle sash brush, and I'm starting off this project by painting the panels on these doors. And what I'm doing here is I'm running that paintbrush inside of those panels, trying to catch all those grooves, all the corners, all the details, and also making sure that I brush out those corners really well. I do not want paint accumulating there and later on causing a drip mark. I'm using an acrylic enamel all-in-one primer and paint. There is 12 panels. It should not take you that long, but I do recommend you take your time. Don't rush. If you take your time, the results will be better. It'll be cleaner. You won't make a mess. And, the finish will be better if you just take your time with it and just pay attention to all the details. And I'm going to say this again, especially to those bottom corners right there that I'm brushing. Make sure you get no paint accumulating there. That is the issue with painting these closet doors, and it's why most people do not like doing it. As you can see here, I'm putting a lot of paint on that paintbrush. I'm loading it up. I want to make sure I got plenty of paint to fill in those voids, those crevices, those lines. Long, even brush strokes, spreading out that paint, getting good coverage, not letting that paint accumulate anywhere. You can see that my old door color is white, obviously, and it has a very high gloss sheen on there. I'm doing away with that. I have switched it over to a flat paint. I don't want any reflections off of there. This is my content creator studio. I do photography and video in here. And whenever the video or photos capture that wall of doors, it's just too much white contrast, too much reflections. I got to be adjusting my photo lights because I'm getting a reflection off the doors. I really need those doors muted. I need them to be more cohesive with the space. So I chose this color, hoping to bring out some hidden elegance out of these doors. And I think I'm going to accomplish that. Again, brushing out those corners really well. That's probably the most important thing, which is why I keep repeating it to you. Brush out those corners really well. That is where the paint will give you the most trouble. And if you do that, two things will happen. Number one, you won't get drip marks. And number two, you can use that paint and distribute it on other sections of that panel. Use that paint to fill in all the little voids, all the little cracks, all the little crevices. Yeah, and so far so good. This is going really well. I'll tell you right now that I painted these doors in under 30 minutes. And that was with me taking my time and paying attention to the details that we've discussed. Again, long, even brush strokes. Filling in those corners really well. If you're new to the channel, I want to thank you for tuning in, clicking on my video. Please help and support the channel by liking and subscribing. My name is Jake. I'm a 30-year veteran builder, home remodeler, contractor, and I've learned a lot of things throughout the years, and I'm bringing all that knowledge here to YouTube to share it with you, hoping to make your life easier and help you along with those home renovation projects. Here I am taking care of the bottom section of the door. Now this section here, when I was cleaning, I made sure was extra clean because that bottom panel is where all that dirt, pet hair, and dust likes to settle. And I do not want any debris, any dirt, any pet hair on these doors when I'm done. You can see that I'm very careful when I dip that paintbrush into the paint can. I do not go above the halfway point on those bristles. That gives me better paint management, better control, and it prevents the paint from dripping and rolling back onto my hands and eventually the floor. And if you noticed, I have no paint on my hands, there's no paint on my clothes, and there's no paint on the floor. Just comes with practice. I've been doing this for a long time and just figuring out the best way to do things. Now I'm going to take the same brush now and I'm going to do the edges all the way around this door. And I'm going to do those by hand with the paintbrush. And that is because I don't want to risk that roller accidentally touching any of the door casings and creating another paint job or another cleanup job for me. I don't want to do masking. I don't want to do any extra work to these doors. And if I'm careful enough, I won't have to. I'm going to be done with these edges, and all that would be left to do is just roll these doors out with the roller for the remainder. Again, doing the edges. There's a nice gap around this door all the way around that allows me to put my paintbrush in there, not get any on the casing, not to get any on the wall, and also to get that paint all the way to the edge of that door. Again, nice, long, even strokes, getting good coverage, and keeping things clean and tidy. And we are ready to start rolling out these doors. I'm using a 1/2 inch nap roller, and this is a mini roller. I'm not going to use big rollers for these for these small doors. Obviously, we're using the small weenie rollers, as they call them, and these work really good. They're not as expensive, and they don't use as much paint. And for smaller projects like these doors, these work excellent. And again, I've tried these inside the detail. It doesn't work very well. It just pushes a lot of paint out of the roller onto the floor. You get a lot of run marks, a lot of drip marks. So this is much better. Obviously, the flat parts of the door we have no problem doing with the roller. And you might catch some paint on the edges and have some excesses with the roller. As you can see right there on that panel right there in the upper right corner. I'm going to catch it right now, right there. I caught it. And you can always go back and roll those out. So that's fine. Again, I'm going to go back at the end with the paintbrush and do the same process. Again, just trying to get even roller strokes. And for me, roller strokes are like paintbrush strokes, long, smooth strokes. Uh, Small, short, quick strokes, I don't like too much, and they tend to drip paint and make a mess. And I like to get that paint evenly distributed, spread out, and then you can always come back and work in some more, or repaint if you have to. But like I said, with experience, you start finding out the best way to do these things. And I've been doing this for 30 years, folks, so I'm pretty savvy with the paint stick. And I'm going to demonstrate to you here in a second how the roller just does not work inside of this detail. It's just really awkward and ineffective and inefficient. You're going to have to go back and retouch everything up with the paintbrush anyway. Might as well just use a paintbrush from the get-go. And here we go. Let's give it a try. Yeah, that just does not work. It's just really hard to get it in there. It doesn't get to the bottom of that detail, and the paint just starts running. Uh, it's just not a very good way to do this, folks. Use a paintbrush. I'm going to back roll this and pick up any excess there. And when I run the roller back over the edges here, I can tell that I'm also picking up some of that flat panel, and that's absolutely okay. I want plenty of paint on those details. I want those. These doors have a wood grain embossed on them, and it needs to be filled with paint. That's the best way I can explain it to you. If you go too shallow on it, you will not get the finish you want. So this is how you do that. Again, addressing the edges, finishing up the door of both sides, and I'm about done. The color's a little off because the paint hasn't dried yet, but I have faith that it will. Okay. I'm going to go back with my paintbrush here and just touch up all the panel details again, just to pick up any paint that might have settled to the bottom. And again, this will absolutely prevent any run marks or drip marks on your doors when you're done. That's what makes them look really nice or not. Removing any hair. I had a little fiber there, got rid of it. I just don't let stuff like that go, folks, and you will regret it every time. Every time you look at that door, you're going to tell yourself, I should have taken that off. Take the extra second or two, just remove it, hit it again with paint. Ready to put on my handles here. I got some long screws for my handles because handles come with short screws, and these doors require at least 1.5 inch screw, which is what I got, 1.5 inch, and they barely caught, but they're working. To the left side. That looks good. And let's do the right side. That went right in. And we're done. Let's stand back and see how this looks. Wow, that looks fantastic. I have a door adjustment to do on one of these doors, and I will take care of that. In a second, you'll see that in the final shots. The doors are all even at the end. And yeah, that looks wonderful. Some high lows because some of the paint's still wet, and these doors are going to dry a little darker. And there they are. Still drying and hoping that color is going to dry a little more to match. And there it is. It's drying more. It's looking better. I'm really happy with the results. It's added some elegance to this room. It really turned down that white, unsightly contrast I had going on here. And this just is warmer. It's just elegant. I love the way this looks. I'm super happy with this result. All right, folks, so if you have some closet bifold doors in your house that you are tired of looking at and don't know what to do with, don't replace them. You can very simply do the same thing I did. Just clean them really well, paint them using the right equipment, the right products, and the right materials. Any questions or comments, reach out to me and let me know. And if you haven't done so yet, please like and subscribe, support the channel. And I will see you on the next Jake Renovates for another great idea on how to renovate your home. Thanks for watching.